Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man ihtada bihudahu ila yawmiddin. Abad. All praises belong to Almighty Allah. May his peace and blessings be upon the Prophet of Islam, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his household followers, and all those who follow the path of Allah to the day of judgment. Welcome all of you to our morals on Morals of Ramadan, day 11. It is important to mention that we indicated from the beginning of these deliveries that moral number one is at-taqwa. As far as Ramadan is concerned, moral number one is at-taqwa. And we explained at-taqwa. We are now on how to attain at-taqwa. And step number one is reflection, and broken into bits. Reflection on Allah's power, his power to create, his power to protect, and his power to destroy. Then minor point 2, reflection on man himself. This afternoon I would like to look at Ramadan fast itself, and how does the fasting itself help the believer to attain a taqwa. We have to take note of the fact that even though the fasting itself is a physical exercise, but it is preceded by sound intention. The intention to do the fasting for the sake of Allah. And that in itself prepares the human heart, prepares the human mind, prepares the human spirit to take to that which will get him closer to Allah. Once the intention is made, the fasting that is being conducted is between the servant of Allah and Allah himself. Nobody witnesses the veracity of the fast that is being done. In other words, nobody acts as a watchman or woman on anyone who is fasting. It is an act which one is doing for the sake of Allah. And in life, all acts that are done for the sake of Allah win the doer pleasure of the Creator, win for the doer satisfaction of the Almighty. And as one takes himself through this exercise, which is only witnessed truly by Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala droplets of iman on the heart with the passage of time over a period of 1 month. It is against this background that the Prophet says that when a person fasts, he has two forms of happiness. Lahu farhatan, two forms of happiness. The first happiness is when he breaks the fast And the second happiness is when he meets his Lord. If an act brings joy to the self, it means that act is a source of spiritual empowerment for the self. No wonder anyone who truly fasts gets a feeling of joy at the time of the break of the fast. And as the prophet rightly indicated, on the day of judgment, the joy will be greater. So the fast in itself, propelled by sound intention, helps one to attain the fear of Allah. Number two, every human being is torn between obedience and transgression. Every human being is torn between dictates of the spirit and dictates of the human body. The human body wants pleasure, physical pleasure, in various forms. The human spirit, because it is nourished, the human spirit is nourished by the word of Allah. It is also always waiting for that opportunity to find itself nourished very deeply by the word of Allah. In between the spirit and the body is a battle for dominance over the human self. And this battle has an unending nature, meaning so long as one is alive, that battle only ends with death. And the Quran, Allahu Akbar, is very clear on this battle. The book says, فَأَلْهَمَهَا, he says, وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا, and the self, وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا, and the spirit or the self and how it has been designed. وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا, and that this self, which is the nafs, always suffers from the tension of sin and piety. Meaning, there are always two agitations in the human self. One asking it to commit sin, and the other one asking it to commit itself to the Almighty, to fear Allah. This is an ongoing battle within the human self. Then Ramadan comes in here to play a unique role to make the spirit very strong. And the spirit is related to and associated with piety. During the day, sin and pleasure are related to the human body. So we are going to have the body and its pleasures on one side, and the spirit and its pious dictates also on one side. each one trying to pull the self to its side. Just like two boxers in a boxing arena. Then Ramadan comes in here. From dawn, let's say Ghana 4 a.m. up to about 6:15, 6:17 p.m. The dictates of the body is suppressed. It is deprived of food. It is deprived of drink. It is deprived of bodily pleasure. So it's just like two boxers in a ring. And one has gotten its hands tied to the back. That individual has his hands tied to the back. And the other one has a free hand to start to punch this one who has had his hands tied to his back. So all the organs will not be nourished during the day. The stomach will go on leave. All other parts will go on leave. And automatically and physically, weakness will set into that part of the body. As the physical side of man is suffering, and because he is doing it for the sake of Allah, the spiritual side that the body always competes with gets a full day to develop itself through reading of the Quran, through remembrance of Allah, through acts of charity. And because these are the major deeds in this month, the spirit gets elevated. The spirit brings joy to the human self. And the spirit, therefore, even helps the body to get closer to Allah. Because whatever the body has to do is dictated to by the spirit to behave well. And when the body, the spirit, mind are all nourished by the word of Allah, piety is attained. That is why it is appropriate and extremely important that other forms of nawafil, adhkar, and the rest that we'll be talking about in the coming days should be taken very seriously in order to give the human self the empowerment it needs to face the challenges and machinations of shaitan in our material world. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless all our steps and strengthen us to do his deeds and his works at all times. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.